his up. I mean, and he bought into that,
Well,
I guess, right?
I saw him walk back out on the field, and he had a certain bounce in his step. I could swear he believed me. But anyways, when I got to Jackie Robinson, finally, I get his autograph, and I figured if I put it in the middle of my autograph book, we girls used to have these ridiculous autograph books with sentiments in it. I'll love you till Niagara Falls, until rubber tires. And I figured if I put him in the middle, it would look like he was intimate with me. But I didn't think he'd ever notice. He'd just write his name. He looked down at these things. My face started to redden. He was reading these ridiculous sentiments. So he stopped for a minute, and then he thought in the same terms, and he wrote, "Keep your smile a long, long while, Jackie Robinson." I thought I was going to faint. I went back to my seat, and I was so proud. It was an amazing thing.
He retired rather than go to the Giants, didn't he?
Yes, thank God. He would never wear a Giant uniform, so he retired with dignity. He knew how to do it.
It is 16 minutes till the hour, and I am Imus. This morning we're talking with Doris Kerns Goodwin, whose new memoir is entitled Wait Till Next Year. It's about baseball, about being a baseball fan, about being a Catholic, one of the wacky Catholics. And we'll talk more with it coming up.
Imus in the morning.
98.1 The Peak. WPEK. Previously on the Don and Mike Show.
I'm from Sacramento, and you guys are coming here pretty soon. I'm thinking about coming blindfolded because I have this thing about seeing radio talk show people in person.
What do you think we look like?
You guys say each other's fat.
Yes, we's fat.
We is fat.
Do you think Drew Carey is a pig?
But yeah.
Then maybe you shouldn't come.
The Don and Mike Show.
Weekday afternoons from 3 to 7 on 98.1.
We're talking with Doris Kerns Goodwin, the historian, whose new book, a memoir, is entitled Wait Till Next Year. It is available, obviously, at bookstores everywhere, and is published by our friends over at Simon & Schuster, where we have returned, by the way. We've, with David Rosenthal, we now... We're back with Carolyn Reedy and some of those other empty suits over there, or in Miss Reedy's case, empty suit. Yeah. Doris Kerns Goodwin will be signing copies of Wait Till Next Year or any other book she's written, probably, at Barnes & Noble at Union Square East tonight. That's down to 17th Street. It's a huge bookstore down there on both sides of the street. You just ask where she is. No. So, anyway, she'll be there tonight at 7:30 signing copies of Wait Till Next Year and others. When did you, didn't we talk at one point about, you were writing this and it was going to be a baseball book, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it started out that way, but then it really became more interesting to me to talk about what it was like to grow up in the 50s, to remember, what it was like to be a Catholic and have all of those prayers in your head, and then somehow you turn those prayers at night while I'm kneeling by the bed to wishing that Richie Ashburn would break his leg or Enos Slaughter would break an arm. I mean, what kind of a kid was I? I thought I was an angelic kid. And then I even wished there was a train wreck in my town at one point. And after the train wreck, I got the idea that the entire New York Yankees team could be on a train wreck. And then they'd be out of the World Series, but they'd get better. And I thought of myself as a good Catholic. And, of course, had to confess this in confession. It was pretty embarrassing.
With respect to that train wreck, bring me up to speed. Now, you snuck out of your house. What did you do?
Well, what happened is that I had gone to see Roy Campanella speak at the Episcopal Church. And when you're brought up as a Catholic, you're told you're not supposed to set foot in any other church. So I trembled when I got in there. I saw him. I was happy to see him. But that night I couldn't sleep, certain I had traded the life of my everlasting soul for this one night with Roy Campanella. So I had to do something to get this sin off my soul. And there was a big train wreck in my town the next night. And I had practiced for months anyway, baptizing somebody. You were told if somebody died and you were present as a lay person, no priest is around, you should baptize them. They could go to heaven and you get a lot of sins off your soul. So I heard about this train wreck. It was about a mile from my house. I figured if I could go there and find a dying person, I could baptize them, and then I could wipe the Campanella sin off my soul.
How old were you?
I was 7 years old. This is idiotic. I walked to the train station, and luckily when I got there, I was able to sneak right down to the front. It was a gory scene. I mean, dozens of people had died, but thankfully I saw immediately that there were 6 or 7 priests there, so I knew I wasn't needed, so I didn't start lifting up the blankets to say, would you like me to baptize you before you die? So then I still had that sin on my soul when I went to the confession booth, and my first holy confession I had to tell about all these things, but the priest was great. He just said, you're never going to make yourself happy by trying to hurt other people. I promise you, I'm a Dodger fan too. Someday they'll win fairly and squarely. Now say 6 Hail Marys and get out of here.
But 7 years old.
You are filled with wacky notions at that time.
Yeah, but not a lot of 7-year-olds are going to, are they? No, I wouldn't think. No. Whitaker Chambers was
Yeah, he went to my high school. It was just a
but
weird
not at
thing.
the same time, right?
Oh, no, he was much older than
Yeah.
me. But I had an older sister who actually gave a graduation speech, and I was certain she was going to do what Chambers did. It was a big thing in our town to say that Chambers had given a speech. They said he couldn't give it because it was so horrible. He then said he'd rewrite it, and then he gave the one he wanted to in the first place, predicting prostitution for some of his classmates. They wouldn't give him his high school diploma. We had we had also, there's quite a few other people that went to my high school, including Howard Stern.
It's not all bad, is it? You talk about, I guess when you were 12 or so, or 13 or something, of going to your room and listening to records. And the three artists that I was kind of intrigued by, that you cite, you're listening to Little Richard, Chuck Berry, and Fats Domino records. And when I was going to high school, they were popular, but there were white artists who were covering their records, like Pat Boone. In the case of Shaboom, who I forget the originals, but the crew cuts
Remember
were.
Shaboom, Shaboom.
Yeah, well, it was a white
yada.
group that covered that. And I thought it was unusual that you were listening to that you only mentioned black artists. I mean, maybe I'm making too much out of nothing, but
I don't know, to tell you the truth, I think in Long Island, in New York, where I grew up, that's who would be covered on Alan Freed on the rock and roll
okay,
station.
that
See,
makes
that's
sense.
what we're listening to all the
Yeah.
time. I mean, he was the guy. And then you'd call up your friends and say, did you hear this song? It was a great part of growing up. I mean, that music was part of a rebellion. Our parents thought it was the most awful music in the world. Now, I think it's so soft and gentle compared to my kids' music, but I loved it then.
I was pleased to see that you weren't listening, because I never liked Pat Boone. I was one of the few. I just never liked the idea
me
that he was
neither.
recording Little Richard's songs and those kinds of things. Who was your favorite Beatle?
I don't know that I loved the Beatles as much later, to tell you the truth. It was the 50s people. The Beatles come in the 60s, and I liked them, but not to distinguish one from the other. They were all part of the music that was part of the politics of the 60s, but the music that had romance, that reminded me of boyfriends, make-out parties, that's the 50s music. That's pre the Beatle music.
We had a conversation with Anna Quinlan once about that. Do you remember who her favorite Beatle was? Was it Paul McCartney, or was that
I can't
wrong?
recall.
I hope it's not.
Yeah.
I would hope it would be. I would hope it would be John Lennon. In this game that you kids played in response to the Army McCarthy hearings, well, I thought that was weird as well that kids would do that. Tell me about that.
Actually, it was a pretty sad thing to realize that the McCarthy hearings had filtrated down to kids. I would come home from school, and like my mother, like everyone else on the block, would be listening to the Army McCarthy hearings. So we all listened to the points of order, his screaming, his bullying style, and we decided to set up our own mock McCarthy trial.
And you were how old now?
We were now like 9, I guess.
Okay.
And we put somebody sitting on a witness stand, and everybody else would then bombard them with accusations. And they'd be kid-like accusations, but they really hurt. Like, you told me you were my best friend when my other friend went away, and then you didn't keep your part of the bargain. You lied about me. You said I was fat. You told X and Y something behind my back. Look how many times we talk behind one another's back. And what's so great about this show is you say it right on the air. I mean, there's no sense of dishonesty, right? But most people, they go out the room and they say, but then we said it in front of each other. Somebody invariably cried. And then we finally, after weeks of somebody being hurt every single day, just grew tired of the game. It was almost like that fever that had gripped the nation through McCarthy had ended for us as little kids. It's nothing to be proud of. It's just a scary remembrance.
Unusual for kids to play a game. I mean, I thought, but
Yeah, kind of. Well, this is a wacky time, I guess,
Yeah.
to use your words.
and in terms of these people who you hadn't seen in decades, well, how did they feel about you? Because you hadn't had any contact with them, and may not have if you hadn't have written this book. What's that? I mean,
Well, I tell you, that was probably in some ways the best part for me because my parents are no longer alive. There's no home in Rockville Center. So I didn't have something to pull me back there as I might have. But by reconnecting with all of these kids, we've now become friends again in a way. I mean, not just interviewing them, but we talk on the phone. My best friend from high school, I talk to her almost every other day now. And it feels like I've gone back to childhood in a good sense. When you leave that and you go forward and you leave it behind, something's lost. But now somehow I feel like it's part of me again. again. The only people I worried about for my book were my sisters. I mean, this is their story, too. When I sent them the draft, I was really nervous until they called up, and they were fine about it. My sister Charlotte, still beautiful, was just so glad that I said she was beautiful. And Jean is always good.
She lives in Fullerton, California?
She lives in Fullerton, California, right.
So that was going to be my next question, so nobody really minded you?
No, they didn't at all. I mean, it would have been harder if I was writing about some dysfunctional family. I mean, these were really good people with some sad pieces to their life, as all of us have. So it wasn't like I was revealing terrible secrets.
These stories, and your father had what a hideously tragic family life he had in terms
and
of...
I didn't even realize as much as a child. All I knew as a child was that when he was 9 years old, his little brother was hit by a trolley car. 2 months later, his mother died in childbirth, and 2 months after that, his father died. And all I thought growing up was that somehow the father loved his family so much he had just expired. Like, you just don't think. I can't believe I thought that really up until I was, 15 years old when my own mother died and went to the attic to go through some boxes when we were moving from our house and discovered the death certificate for my grandfather showing that it was a pistol shot to his head and that it had been a suicide. And I felt a sense of wishing my father had told me earlier just so I could have comforted him. I guess I always thought I could comfort these people. But he said sometimes you just have to go forward and not look backward. And he would have told me later when I was older. But actually that moment turned out to be really important because we talked about moving from my house, which I really didn't want to do after my mother died. But he said he just had to be in a new place to start again. And he did. This man had such a sense of optimism and life force. It makes you think maybe you're born with it because nothing seemed to be able to push him down permanently. And I respect him enormously for that.
I did find myself wanting to know, because the book ends there, I found myself wanting to know how you got from there to teaching government at Harvard. Are you going to write about that?
I don't know. I mean, that would mean writing a different kind of story, a more public, in a certain sense, story, because that would mean talking about my relationship with Lyndon Johnson. I mean, that's a big part of what made me the presidential historian I became. I would have taught government at Harvard. I would have been a teacher, a professor, but I probably wouldn't have become the writer I became had it not been for the privilege at 24 years old of seeing this giant of a man up close year after year. It turned a direction. And someday I think I'll be able to think about that relationship. It's now 30 years ago. It's so weird. It seems like yesterday when he got some of these tapes.
Well, I mean, that would have a lot of significance, obviously, and certainly historical significance. So
possibly.
I guess I hope you do that.
Yeah, maybe someday after Lincoln. Once I get through Lincoln, I'll go back.
Are we persisting in the Lincoln book?
We are, I'm afraid,
in
persisting
spite of our advice.
in the Lincoln. Yes, sir.
the idiot on the radio told her not to write the Lincoln book. Well, this is going to be an enormous bestseller, and couldn't happen to a nicer person. I always love having you on the program.
I
and
love
thank
to
you
be
very
here.
much.
Thank you very much.
Doris Kerns Goodwin, the book's wait till next year. It's a memoir. It's a wonderful book. So
98.1 The Peak is WPEK, Seneca, Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson for news, talk, and sports on FM.
At 8:01, it's 66 degrees. I'm Chris Allen with Upstate News. A candidate for governor has come out in favor of a lottery to finance scholarships for college students.
News, talk, and sports on FM.
Questions about whatever. So. Anyway, it is time now for the national news, and with that, Charles McCoy. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, I-Man. Among the headline stories, USA Today reporting this morning that a Justice Department task force will recommend that Attorney General Reno drop the investigation into President Clinton's fundraising phone calls and other campaign activities.
Yeah.
Ms. Reno has to decide by tomorrow whether to extend the investigation. Another batch of White House fundraising tapes, perhaps as many as 100, will be released either late today or tomorrow. The tapes show the president at more than 100 different events. The president, in his most extensive comments about the fundraising matter, told reporters that he, as the Attorney General, was also mad and upset about the less than timely discovery of those tapes.
I think she was mad. Should have been there when I heard about it.
That's the president commenting aboard Air Force One on his trip to South America, during which he said he would submit to questioning by the Attorney General should she ask.
I will do anything that is necessary to get her and the Justice Department the information they need. I just want them to have the information they need and then be free to make the right decision.
Sound like the old Reagan press conferences by the helicopter, doesn't it?
Just a little bit, doesn't it?
So,
well, what are you going to do?
Well, here's the point about all this, is that I don't care anymore. So, and if I don't care, then I think using that as a gauge.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
When you've lost the I-man, you've lost everybody?
Well, because my whole life revolves around these kinds of hearings and these kinds of things, and I don't care.
Well,
and I just there's nothing there. I don't care. It's a waste of everybody's time. And the Paula Corbin-Jones thing makes me sick. I mean, not make me sick, but I mean, I just don't want to hear any more about the president's penis.
Well, there goes.
No, you can no.
There goes the newscast.
No, you can. You obviously make the news decisions, and that's fine with me. But it's worked for 25 years. But all I'm saying is, I just don't care about it. And how can
we bring you back?
Well, I'm of the feeling.
All right.
That if we're going to have this lawsuit, we should take the. I guess you can take the depositions now. That's fine. But they're talking about the Paula Corbin-Jones's lawsuit against the president, which she's certainly entitled to file.
Yeah.
All of that's fine. But I just think, having nothing to do with him personally, but it just ought to be. It ought to be adjudicated after he leaves office. I don't know. It just seems unseemly for some reason.
So this lady should not be able to get a speedy resolution of this thing?
No, not in this case. No, she shouldn't.
Why should she be a special example?
Well, because it's a big. I don't know.
It's unseemly. I agree.
Well, it's not only that, but there's not some kind of clear case here. Well, I don't know. I don't
That's
know
why
what the
they're
facts
going to go to trial.
I know, that's the truth. I shouldn't say what the facts are. I don't know what the facts are. I would be. Where's Stuart Taylor? Get him on the phone.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, sometime this week.
Good idea.
Let's talk to Stuart Taylor. From the well, we know what he's doing. He's covering the Supreme Court. He's writing for the American Lawyer magazine. He's doing fine, but we need to talk to him about
chasing ambulances.
No, he's not. Stuart Taylor's not chasing ambulances. I need to get either a reality check or something from.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, you're getting soft.
Well, now here's something else. I think some interesting information this morning from Doris Kerns Goodwin. And she was here to talk about her book, but believe me, I'm going to get into it more when I talk to her with this other thing, is that she, in fact, and that's what I thought, that she knew about these Johnson tapes. I mean, if she's helping Lyndon Johnson with these memoirs, and she comes in every morning and there are these transcripts there, of course, even I could figure out where they came from. So, but it would be great to pursue that a little more. Well, the next time she's on, we'll do that, when she's not on about a book or something. But we can try to irritate her more.
Oh, I think it's...
Not irritate her, but to try to...
Oh, yeah. Try to irritate her, right.
Know. Because Beschloss, our new best friend, suggests in taking charge in the editor's note or in the editor's note that... is she charging what we suspected and the information that we got that she's charging? Or this Peyronie how do you pronounce it?
Peyronie's disease.
Peyronie's disease.
Yeah.
Is she charging that?
I don't know. But that has been the information.
Or is she charging something that would suggest that the president was afflicted with that? Peyronie's disease.
Well, or is she simply suggesting that there was
he's got a sling blade weenie.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. But again, they're sitting. I mean, it's just.
Well, according to Mr. Bennett, no.
I'd rather talk to Brad Pitt.
Okay.
And I don't want to talk to Brad Pitt.
I understand.
I mean, he's a nice young man, but I just, you know what I'm saying? That's how little interest I have in this. It's a quarter after the hour, so. Well, what else? Well, go ahead. You have to report the news, so go ahead. I'll listen.
Well, are you interested at all?
Yes, I'm interested in everything you have to say.
In what is in the Russian Malloy column today?
Yes.
From the New York Daily News.
Yes.
Alleged details about the sex life of another president, surfacing in a new book, which is described as a serious work of journalism on the issue of homosexuality, entitled "The Gay Metropolis, 1940 to 1996."
Right.
Tracing, 50-odd years of how homosexuality, the revolution went from invisibility to ubiquity. And it's done by a serious journalist, former New York Times and Wall Street Journal reporter Charles Kaiser. And it contains a claim by former Butler Aviation heir and admitted bisexual, the handsome producer of the musical Hair, Michael Butler. His claims that 42 years ago he twice participated in threesomes with John F. Kennedy. He claims that Kennedy, back in 1955, was also presidential timber in that category. Still on crutches from a back operation that didn't stop him, says Butler, who claims JFK was extra special, adding, "I really loved him." Reporter Kaiser says, "I've known Michael for years. This was not something he was eager to discuss. Because of the length of time I've known him and the way it was disclosed, I feel confident," says reporter Kaiser, "that it is true."
Okay.
Anything, well, it's a serious work, my man, a serious book by a serious reporter.
Well, the fact that you have to say that suggests that it's probably not. It's just ridiculous. But maybe it's not.
No, I don't think it is.
Well, maybe, too bad he's not still alive. We could offer him a job here at the radio station.
Yes, I suppose we could. Also in the headline stories, fans of folk singer John Denver have gathered near the Monterey, California site where his aircraft crashed Sunday afternoon. Authorities made an official confirmation of the body yesterday. The National Transportation Safety Board will attempt to reconstruct Denver's plane. Spokesman George Peterson, Louis, on Mr. Denver's last words.
He did 3 touch-and-go landings and then requested a straight-out departure. He was given a transponder code to squawk, which he did. The tower did not pick up the transponder right away. He recycled his transponder, and his last words were, "Do you have it now?"
Mr. Denver was 53 years old, and people are saying that they anticipate now that there will be a surge in John Denver music sold, probably more this month than there had been all year long. He was the first pilot to break the sound barrier 50 years ago. Today, 74-year-old Chuck Yeager will commemorate the anniversary, which is today, by doing it again over the Mojave Desert. Yeager is scheduled to fly an F-15 at Edwards Air Force Base in California, where he became the first man to fly faster than the speed of sound, and he remembers back when.
I just tell people I'm no hero. I'm just a kid that, it's the right place, the right time.
The U.S. Postal Service issuing a stamp commemorating Yeager's anniversary. The stamp features the X-1 aircraft and not Mr. Yeager.
You have to be dead 10 years before they'll name a stamp after you, but the X-1 is an airplane, so they're honoring the airplane. But if you look in the cockpit real close, you'll see my nose sticking out.
Yeager says this will be his last military flight and that it is time to hang it up after 55 years.
You could just as easily have conducted that interview in a double wide.
With old Chuck,
yeah,
with General Yeager.
One time, General Yeager was on the Imus and Winning program, and I said to him, General, you and I have a lot in common. I was in the Marine Corps, and you were. He looked at me and he said, "What we have in common, young man, is that we're on the same planet." That's what we have in common.
Yeah, exactly.
Here now in Santa Fe, New Mexico, the owner and operator of the Auto Body Express, my brother Fred Imus. My brother's appearance is sponsored by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. Good morning, Fred.
How you doing?
Well, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
How do you feel?
I feel cold. My furnace doesn't work.
Well, you have fireplaces there.
Yeah, but I mean, they go out when you go to bed, and you wake up and the house is freezing.
Well.
The dogs, I thought they'd get on the bed last night.
Right.
But they all come in the living room because it's warmer in the living room. We didn't get on the bed.
My brother has three Siberian Huskies.
That are just wusses.
Could have been a 3-dog night.
I mean, they're
could have been a 3-dog night, Fred.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that dogs that could take 50 below would stay in the bed, but they come out in the living room because it's warmer out in the living room.
Well,
I'm going to shoot them today.
No, we're not going to shoot these dogs today.
Give me some good dogs.
God. So, how'd you do in your football picks?
Did very well, thank you for asking.
How well?
How well?
Well, it was probably 4-3. I lost my list, because it's Tuesday.
Well,
and I normally I'm on Monday.
You picked Jacksonville over Philadelphia, you were right there.
Yeah.
You picked the Jets over Miami, you were wrong.
Right.
So you picked New England over Buffalo, you were right there. You picked the Giants over Arizona, you were right there. So
Yeah.
you picked San Francisco over St. Louis, you were right. You picked Tampa Bay over Cincinnati, you were right. You picked Minnesota over Carolina, you were right. You picked Pittsburgh over Indianapolis, you were right. So you were 6-2.
My God.
So that's a phenomenal record.
Fabulous.
That's a fabulous result of Week 7.
Wow.
6-2.
Extraordinary.
And to the season to date, you are 30-16.
I see that on the screen.
So congratulations.
Yeah.
When's Marv going to fill in for Breen?
Friday.
He is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, it'd be great, huh?
Well, I don't know. I have to talk to Bernard about it.
Oh, I think it's fine.
Well, we're thinking about having Marv Albert fill in for Breen on Friday. It's just as a test.
Are you serious?
Just to see how, yes, I'm serious. What would be wrong with that?
Gauge the reaction.
Just to gauge the reaction and see how comfortable he is working with us.
Trial
Get
balloon.
them numbers up, huh?
Well,
can't hurt.
Can't hurt, you know.
Yeah, I think I'd certainly watch it.
Well, that's the only problem. I just don't know whether you. Well, our primary concern is the radio, in that we have around 15 million people listening to the radio, and a couple 100,000 watching television.
And I don't know how comfortable Marv would be on
We just don't know
camera.
how comfortable he's going to be on camera, so we may have to
appear behind a screen, kind
or
of
something like that.
an
yeah.
IRS agent.
Oh, Jesus!
Yeah, I like Marv.
What? Jesus, what? What?
No. I mean,
What's the matter with you?
Okay.
What, Lou?
What wall are you breaking?
What do you mean?
down?
Oh, okay, what?
Yeah, I think Thanksgiving's coming up. Sir.
No, but what?
What wall are we breaking down at this point?
Well, we're not breaking down any wall.
Well, all right. Let's leave it right there then.
Well, didn't he start on your program years ago?
Well, he didn't start on this program,
but didn't he do what Breen is doing now?
Yes. Back in the early 70s, Marv Albert used to do sports on a program as Breen does.
So it's come full circle.
Well, if in fact we go through with this.
Well, you should go through with it.
Well,
we don't want to bite off more than we can chew.
Well, he'll do that for you.
It's 23 after the hour. Am I talking with my brother, Fred Imus? You could call Fred, by the way, and buy stuff from him at 1-800-272-1957. But one of the things that, with this big El Nino thing coming on here, you're going to need one of them stonewashed denim jackets, which are great, by the way.
Tornado jacket.
Hey, you know, Fred, I need a new Four Corners jacket, medium.
I'm going to get a pencil, get your credit card.
No, we're not going to do any credit cards.
You want to use Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover?
This is a real goober hour, isn't it? We got Fred and Sammy Allred.
Sammy, yeah.
God almighty. All we need is a double-wide trailer salesman.
And Chuck Yeager.
No, Chuck Yeager, Fred Imus, and Sammy Allred, all in the same half hour.
That's not bad company.
We've gone from Doris Kerns Goodwin to Fred and Sammy.
She's great, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
Then you watch her for a while and you just feel stupid, you know?
Well.
I mean, there's a brilliant woman and just amazing, and you watch her and you just think, Jesus, I must have been real dumb.
Well, you are dumb.
Totally.
Yeah. All right, I love you.
I eat it, man.
It's 24 after the hour.
Well, that's ugly.
Well, it's down in the teens in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
It's very cold there. The furnace is out at the house.
And the dogs won't cooperate. So that's an ugly situation. It was revealed here on the Imus Morning program that the allegation that Paula Corbin-Jones has made concerning the distinguishing characteristic of the president's Johnson is that it apparently just that the Johnson's got a U-turn when it's in the condition of arousal.
Kind of like his wife. It's crooked.
That will be fine.
If your radio sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the Morning.
A letter from Maureen Dowd, who I think is the finest op-ed columnist in this country. Well, she's angry, apparently, because of things that have been said about her on this program, and it's been your fault, Bernard, not mine. I didn't say for you to suggest that she's a candidate for the Betty Ford Clinic or is over at Kawisi and Fumi's apartment. I am now forbidding you to make any kind of comment about her, of any sort. The same should, by the way, apply to Lobster Newberg.
Well, that's somebody Kuwaisi wouldn't go near.
98.1 The Peak. WPEK.
Everyone's telling me to call MindSpring. 1-888-M-SPRING. All right. 1-888-M-SPRING.
Thanks for calling MindSpring. This is John speaking. How can I help you today?
Hey, yeah, I'm fed up with AOL, and I know MindSpring.
And now, Imus in the Morning 2020 Sports. Here's Mark Breen.
Washington whacks Dallas. Good morning, Mike Breen with sports. Hail to the Redskins. Words and music by Delbert McClinton. You know, Monday Night Football. You leave Delbert alone. From our nation's capital. Sammy, why don't you put on those headphones so you can hear what's going on? Sammy Allred's here. Sammy, say hi to Mike Breen. Hello, Sammy. Good, thanks. How are you?
Sammy's a mute there. Just
Chemistry already.
Sammy Matlin.
No. You leave Sammy alone. Go ahead, Mike. He didn't have his headphones turned on. Are they on now, Sammy?
Potatoes out of your ears.
Okay.
I couldn't find my knob.
No, okay. Go ahead, Mike. The Redskins throw the Cowboys for another loss, 21-16. So the Cowboys now 3-3. Coach Barry Switzer thought there were some real positives.
At least we scored a touchdown. First in 6 games.
At least we scored a touchdown. That's Switzer's stance now. So a rushing touchdown? Yeah. Oh, it was. Who scored it? Not Emmitt Smith. Okay. Well, are you a Cowboys fan, Sammy?
Oh, yeah. Cowboy. You got to be a Cowboy fan.
You're from Texas, right?
You know what Reverend Billy Graham and Barry Switzer have in common?
No.
Can both get 60,000 people at once to stand up in a stadium and say, Jesus Christ.
Mike Breen
continues.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Cricky, thanks for that
one. You leave Sammy alone. That's not going to be good today, Sammy. Okay, Mike. Come on, Mike. American League Championship Series, a classic. Indians lose last night at home. Orioles beat them 4-2.
God.
So Cleveland. Jesus. Cleveland's lead is now 3-2. I've regained composure. Mike, let's not get on one of these laughing dudes. I won't. No, come on. Indians. Sandy Alomar was asked about the effect of this defeat.
A loss is a loss.
Can't argue with that. Game 6 will be tomorrow afternoon back in Baltimore. And Game 6 of the NLCS tonight in Atlanta. Braves facing elimination as the Marlins lead that series 3-2. That's sports. I'm Mike Breen. I am Imus in the Morning. We're going to talk with Sammy Allred coming up.
Walking bird dog. Just a walking bird dog. If you don't know how to do it, show you how to walk bird dog. Come on now. Come on. Imus in the morning.
On the way to adapting to capitalism, the Russians have discovered IOUs. And today's New York Times explains how they've turned unpaid bills into the linchpin of the Russian economy. But how can a country survive on bad debt? Huh?
Doesn't make any sense.
It's one of the amazing things that you'll discover in the New York Times. A good reason to call 1-800-NY-TIMES to ask about home delivery. You can expect the world from the New York Times.
I'm Robert Kowalski, author of the New York Times bestseller on lowering cholesterol. And if you're concerned about cholesterol, try New Evolve.
98.1 The Peak. WPEK.
Now there's something new for Mexican lovers.
And
we is who?
Well, it's a double thing. They had a group from Austin. You know, last time we were here, you said, the son's out in the car with Brad. I hope he comes in before the show's over.
Right. Son is the other half of the Giesenslaws.
Yeah, the real, the brains behind the thing, you know, the voice behind the Giesenslaws.
He sings mostly.
Oh, sings like a bird.
Yeah.
Son surprised his wife with a 6-month cruise.
He did.
She'll be back middle of April. So yeah, I've been here since Thursday.
Oh, there's a Giesens. There's a Giesens Law fan right there.
Golly. Well, Brant, the driver was he had our new blah 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 album and put it in his computer and found out about the what do they call it? Enhanced CD part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, high-tech rednecks.
No.
Here on the Goober Hour.
Oh, why are you in New York now?
Well, I came because you said if we were back in town, we could be on the show again.
Absolutely.
So I look for reasons to come. Now, the radio station, where I do my day gig when we ain't out on the Giesens Law World Tour,
right?
Which has been in a mild slump, the World Tour. We had one rain out, 2 cancellations, and Yoakum, Texas Chamber of Commerce stiffed us for a $3,000 check now.
They did.
And in the Giesens Law World Tour budget, $3,000 is a pretty big hunk, But
you appeared in Yoakum, Texas.
Yoakum. Mm-hmm.
And the Chamber of Commerce wrote you a hot check.
Yeah, well, it was a good check, and then they stopped payment on it, they said.
Oh, see, that's a little different, Sammy. Why did they stop payment on it?
Well, they said they didn't have any money.
Oh, they weren't dissatisfied with your performance.
Oh, beautiful performance. Hugged our necks. That's just get us out of town.
All right.
I tell the boy, don't worry, we got a thing. Nothing to worry about here. I got a check, man. Hugged my neck, told me how great the show was.
Oh. And
then the surprise came later.
Did they charge admission to the show?
Oh, yeah.
How many people were there?
Well, that's 200-300.
So that was enough to cover the $3,000.
I would think so. There are 20 people on the Chamber of Commerce board. I figured they throw in 150 piece. We get that over with and wouldn't have to call the sheriff and everything.
Where are we now with this?
We're just hanging. They say work with us on this.
Well, no.
Work with.
No, you want the money, don't you?
I want.
What do you mean work with us?
I want my money. So there was a thing with the radio station. They say you want to go to New York. We take like a group. And then...
Oh, okay, of listeners.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I said, well, heck yeah, I'll do that. So I get to be with the I-Man again. Then...
Where are the listeners?
Well, they gone back already.
Well, they have.
Yeah.
How many did you bring?
Oh, it's about 25.
25 people from Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm. But the day before we left, do you remember John McCall, Kinky's friend, Filthy Rich Texan?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they were also coming.
I've never met him, but...
Oh, well, you need to. He's a fine American. Filthy Rich loves to spend money.
Yeah.
So I had a chance to ride with him. I come a day early, kind of get everything prepared for the group.
All right.
The good news is, bad news, we had to be on the plane with Kinky for like 3.5 hours.
That's not great.
And it can wear you down.
Kinky performed with Delbert McClinton the other night up in Connecticut.
Over in Stamford, yeah.
Were you there?
I went to see that show.
Oh, how was it? How was Kinky?
The same as always. He was on a fast that day, a religious holiday.
Well, that's right.
Strict fast. He stuck to nothing but Cuban cigars and Jack Daniels.
No
solid.
He wasn't supposed to have any of that. He wasn't supposed to have that even, was he?
Absolutely not.
He wasn't supposed to be performing either.
Oh, no. Well, I guess.
No.
Fairly religious.
Well, yeah, but that's a big one, Yom Kippur. He wasn't supposed to. Why?
Maybe after dark, was it? You can do something.
Okay, you can. Yes, you
Maybe
could.
That was waited till sundown.
Then he was okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it was after sundown.
The crowd loved him.
We're talking with Sammy Allred from Austin, Texas. What's the station are you on down there?
KVET in Austin.
Okay. And you've been off now almost a week.
Oh, man. Yeah, before I left, I was going to get one of them.
What do they do when you're gone?
We have not like you, but we have, sports guys and my partner, Barbecue Bob Cole, who loves you, and you can see why. But when he was like 15 or 16, he was in New York. He was a scout, and he called you and got to you on the phone, and like in between, not on the air, you talked to him a while, and he really always adores you, worships you. Same as I.
So
before we left, I was going to get me one of them little cameras. You seen them Canon ELPH? Little bitty camera, cute as heck. And I said, well, heck, I didn't get a chance to get it. When I get to New York City, I get one.
Yeah.
And I went around from the hotel, their place, and they had them. And I said, how much is the camera? I said, $699. I said, I can get them at home, Target, for $399.
Sure.
He said, why didn't you get one? Target, $399. I said, they was out.
Yeah.
He said if I was out, you could have it for $2.99.
Oh, I see. So,
and we rode the subway. What
did the people do here? The 25 listeners.
They went up to. I didn't see them too often. That's one of the bad parts there. I didn't.
Did they go to the show, to Kinky's show with you with Delbert?
No, I didn't tell them I was doing that.
Okay. So
my dad came on the tour with the listeners. So that was a weird one. Because my dad never did like me as much as he should have. Because I don't like to deer hunt as much as he does. Mm-hmm. And every opportunity. He's 89 now. Going to be 90 in January. He's lively now.
Yeah.
But it takes every opportunity to tell people that I was a disappointment to him because I don't like to deer hunt.
No.
Yeah. But it was a good time.
And he still says you're a disappointment?
Well, every opportunity that I got put in jail once in my life, he either tells that or that I hate to deer hunt.
Did Kinky turn on the audience? You know how he does? You've seen him do that, right?
He did. He turned on us on the way back.
Oh, he did?
When Kinky, with Kinky, the decision of where to eat, I think, is a major, major decision.
Yeah.
Probably Ted Turner gave that $1 billion to the UN easier than Kinky decides where to eat. You know what I mean?
Well,
and he can wear you down. We love Kinky.
No, I know, but
he briefed me.
I actually refused to take his call the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, that was. Well, you were in there, weren't you, Bernard?
Yeah, I was a witness.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I refused to take his call.
He briefed me on what to say so much. That's one reason you say I look a little funny. I was a little kind of had the flop sweats because Kinky briefed me so much on what to say.
Kinky is the worst guest, almost the worst guest.
Yeah. Well, he used to be the worst guest. I think we had somebody tying him.
He almost.
I ain't saying nothing.
He almost ruined an appearance by Willie Nelson, if you can believe that.
Well, I know that he and Willie had a gig October 1st in Austin, and Willie didn't show up for that one. Tell me about Kinky and Willie.
He almost ruined his appearance, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He was so sour and
just,
unfunny.
So.
Oh, Kinky had a sour day on?
Yeah.
Well, hang on here, man. Let me do some spots. And
all right.
We'll get back.
Yeah.
It's 13 till the hour. We're talking with Sammy Allred from Austin, Texas, one half of the Geezen's Laws.
Yeah.
And, is this a new album? No.
No, somehow. I just had that song on there about.
How many of these do we sell each time we release one? Would you say?
I have no earthly idea.
Do you ever get paid? Do you ever get any money?
Never yet. We've had 5 albums with this company, but they sent statements, but no, Einstein couldn't figure one out.
Oh, okay. So, have return, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of doing it.
Yeah.
So they got to deduct all that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll talk more with Sammy coming up.
Oh, Ben Lucas had a lot of mucus coming right out of his nose. He picked and picked to make just sick, but back again it grows. Imus in the morning.
It is 8 minutes till the hour, and we're talking with Sammy Allred. He's one half of the Geezen's Law, Sammy and Son. And they've got this. I asked Sammy, I said, am I the only person who hates Ralph Emery?
Just despise him? Or,
well, I don't know what it is.
I think hate's a little strong, man. I don't think you hate him. Well, you might.
He's a phony, I think.
Well, it's hard. I think Ralph is always thinking about something else when you're talking to him. Right. And a lot of people really didn't like to be. Personally, he thought I was funny.
Did you read his book?
Yeah, he left us out of the book, but except I was noticing. Man, I was gonna plug Mel Berger over William Morris Agency here in New York.
Yeah.
He's wanting to do a Geezen's Law book.
Oh, yeah.
Then we're trying to. It wouldn't be your usual superstar bio,
No.
We ain't superstars, but we find the angle. We were working on that. I wanted to plug. I think he had something to do with the Ralph Emery book.
Well, Ralph wrote that when Bobby Thompson hit that home run on October 3rd, 1951, that Ralph was claimed that it was his first job at a radio station, and it was impossible it turned out that it wasn't anywhere near the same time or anything. So I pointed it out to Ralph, and he got all huffy at me.
Didn't like that.
He didn't like the fact that.
Well, he got a little huffy at me on this.
Some video here.
The video. There's a bunch of jokes, and a couple of songs from. We were on with Ralph. I got about 8 years on Nashville Network.
Oh, you did.
And we didn't put his. Now, see, Ralph's name is on there 6 times, big few.
Yeah.
And then on the bottom part where we said special thanks to Ralph, that wasn't quite big enough. He got a little hot over that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Oh. It's like if you came up to me 30 seconds before the show and screamed in my face, I hope you're going to be funny today. Ralph's that kind of type.
Oh, yeah.
You love him more than anything in the world, and then all of a sudden.
So I think it's not unfounded then, or not that I do hate him. So.
Well, yeah.
Like Lori Morgan's going to be here tomorrow. She used to appear on his show all the time.
Yeah, Lori.
So I don't know if I'll point out to her that I hate Ralph.
Bring it up and see what
Ralph,
she says.
He's just a creep.
Yeah. A lot of people really didn't understand Ralph because, like I say, he's always thinking of something else. Now, with me, he would request jokes. And if he had heard a joke 40 times, he would still he would laugh just as much.
We have just a couple seconds left here. So.
What? You're leaving it up to me? Damn.
Oh, no. When are you going back to Austin?
Immediately, maybe. No, son will be. I hope son's out in the car listening to it on the radio.
There's no way we could get him to come in?
I don't know. I'll ask him the thing. He was going down the street.
Well, why don't you hang on here a minute?
Yeah.
Let's do some spots in the news, and then maybe we'll see if we can get.
Yeah, we can save this thing. We'll make it end up making me look good.
We'll try.
Okay.
So, live this morning news time at 5 minutes past the hour. Sammy Allred from the Geezer's Laws is here, and Sammy's does the morning show with old Bob Cole. Is that his name?
Yeah, Bob Cole.
Down in Austin, Texas. Yeah. What's the show called?
Sam and Bob.
Sam and Bob.
Or Bob and Sam, whatever. Whoever's telling it,
How long have you been there?
We've been 7 or 8 years now, and we're not out on the grueling Geese and Slaw World Tour 97.
When did you hook up with Bob?
About 7 or 8 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I've been doing radio off and on since, probably 69.
Oh, okay.
Because I always, when I need to go pick and sing or come up and visit you, then they let me off. That's a good deal.
Okay.
And
how long have the Geese Laws been in business?
Oh, man, Son and I since 59.
59?
1959. And we moved to New York City about 63 or 4. Remember Arthur Godfrey?
Sure.
I bet you hate Arthur Godfrey, too.
No.
No, you don't?
Yeah, he's all right.
So ask Lori Morgan tomorrow about
I don't remember Arthur Godfrey.
Well, that's right. It's way before your time.
Well, no, it wasn't, but I just wasn't.
Yeah. We caught him right in the end of his reign, But it's a heck of a thing for, like, Sonny and I hadn't been out of South Austin 15 minutes, and here we are in New York on ZBS. And
were you on the Arthur Godfrey show?
Uh-huh.
A talent scout deal.
Well, no, he was coming through the Southwest to try to kick up a little interest in the network radio at the time, which was fading. Mm-hmm. And he saw us there and said, do y'all want to go to New York? And we said, yeah. And then after the show, some of the band guys said, well, we'll see you in New York. And I said, yeah, I'll bet, And they said, no, if Godfrey likes you, he says it. If he doesn't like you, he'll also say it.
Oh.
So we were here from like 62 or 3 till near 1970. Live up on West 72nd Street.
Appearing on the Arthur Godfrey show all that time?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I know this? Did you know this?
No, I did not know that at all.
He was his CBS deal over 49 East 52nd.
Yeah.
Well, it's before people, we weren't called country music then because, they didn't know you weren't supposed to like it yet.
Oh.
But it's comedy stuff. Oh, we had a heck of a run. It was really crazy. Our first job he booked us was the Edgewater Beach Hotel in Chicago. You know how that went over.
What did you guys do?
Oh, we bombed.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. But while we were at it, they were doing a live album for Columbia with us. It turned out okay.
Oh, okay.
And then we did 4 albums with Capitol Records through the Godfrey thing. And Godfrey had
why don't I know any of this?
Godfrey had a lot of listeners back then.
You know why I don't know any of this?
Because I haven't written that book yet.
Kinky.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, Kinky.
Because Kinky would never say, If you're not talking about, as you know this better than I do, if you're not talking about kinky, there's no conversation.
That's what I say. That's why today I was worn completely down. He briefed me so much on what to say about kinky.
Yeah, well.
He said, tell him about the BB gun. Tell him about the BB gun.
Two left feet planted on the ground. I need some help if I do town. Help, I'm wild and I can't get down.
Imus in the morning. 98.1 The Peak. WPEK.
20 Sports. Here's Mark Breen.
Swinging the ground ball towards the middle. Alomar backhands. He turns, throws off balance, out at first, and the Orioles win.
The Birds to fly another day. Good morning. Mike Breen with Sports. Jim Hunter the call. WBAL. American League Championship Series will have a Game 6 thanks to the Orioles' 4-2 victory over the Indians at Jacobs Field last night. Cleveland still leading the series 3-2, but the O's fighting off elimination. Baltimore right fielder Geronimo Baroa was asked, what does this game mean to the Orioles?
Now we got to play another game.
I didn't quite look at it that way, but Baroa is correct. And that next game will be tomorrow afternoon at Camden Yards. And the Giesenslaws will sing the national anthem. We can only hope.
Well,
how come he had to leave so soon?
Well, he's going back to Austin.
Got to catch a plane.
He's got to catch a plane back to Austin.
Sure. I heard his sister was breaking up with him.
I don't know. What?
Too bad.
No. Well,
who was his favorite Beatle?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. We couldn't get Doris to commit on that, and I forgot to ask Sammy. So.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Does he think O.J. did it?
I don't know. I don't know what they thought O.J. did.
I thought there were a lot more things you guys could have got into.
Yeah, well, there probably were. Yeah. Well, I think Sammy had an off day, don't you think?
No.
No.
No, I don't. No, I don't at all.
Another day.
Well,
it's on these kind of days you wish the show was 6 or 7 hours and you had more time.
Well, you
should make him take the bus back to Manhattan. Get him out of the limo.
I think you got, I like Sammy, and I'm not.
There you go.
That's
it.
So.
That's enough.
All right. Monday Night Football. What's wrong with the Cowboys? They lose again. That drops them to 3-3 as the Redskins beat them last night, 21-16 to Washington. Deion Sanders, he of the born-again variety, had a suggestion for his teammates.
I just think we need to look at those film and just evaluate each other personally. We can evaluate ourselves personally. I think we're going to be okay.
Evaluate each other. Deion is a man of God now.
They got to start winning these games.
That's right. They don't have an easy one next week. They host Jacksonville.
We want Jerry to become Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, to become the coach of the Cowboys. That's what we want. So I think Barry's pretty much about to explode now anyway. Yeah. And so.
Yeah, because he was very calm after the loss last night. And that's not a good sign. He needs to get that stuff out.
Yeah, he does.
He didn't do that last night.
Yeah. He'll have another handgun.
Oh, yeah.
Gun in his mouth.
Was Jerry down on the sidelines?
I didn't notice.
Okay.
Because you were sleeping.
Former Michigan basketball coach Steve Fisher is firing back after being fired. Fisher canned the other day rumors of NCAA violations. He's been criticized in the Michigan press and had some words for the media yesterday.
Call me a lot of things. Don't call me dishonest.
All right, we won't then. But he's gone. Call him unemployed.
What did he do?
What happened?
Well, they had a big investigation. Apparently a booster was had some power in the program, and they gave the old we want to go in a different direction routine. But there were no real NCAA violations
In other words,
found.
you don't know.
I just told you what it is.
Okay.
You rude son of a...
Hey! Well, I don't think that's necessary here, do you?
I'm sorry. I'm just I have a little stress today.
What are you stressed out about?
Well, the Knicks lost again in preseason last night. So
well,
they're 0-3.
Get used to that.
It should become a familiar refrain.
Yeah. The Knicks lose.
The Knicks lost last night.
Well, they won't be able to beat the Bulls without Scottie Pippen.
They won't be able to what?
Beat the Bulls without Scottie Pippen.
You heard him.
That's
bunch of knuckle dragging morons.
23 after the hour.
Boom, 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 boom. Gonna shoot you right down, right off of your feet. Take you home with me. Put you in my house. Boom, 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 boom. Imus in the morning.
And old Bob's down there doing a show by himself in Austin.
Can't be doing any worse. Got to be doing better.
Thinking, I hope Sammy never comes back.
Him in the audience.
Well, but here's the thing about Sammy. Sammy's a nice guy. Wouldn't you agree?
I wouldn't know. I don't know.
Yeah, for an assassin.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Sammy's a nice guy.
Of course
I'm
he
telling
is.
you.
Of course he is.
Unlike, say, for example, Chinga Chavin, who is not a nice person. Chinga Chavin is a creep.
But he's a better guest.
Yeah, he surpassed him this time.
No.
Unbelievable as that is.
Chinga Chavin is still the worst guest we've ever had.
I don't know. I don't know.
This is too fresh for us to make an objective judgment on that.
You're trying to tell me that you think Sammy Allred was as bad as Chinga Chavin?
I'm thinking.
As bad.
As bad.
That's what you're saying.
We have to reevaluate. He might have been worse.
You're telling me that Sammy was worse than Chinga Chavin?
Very possibly.
The scales they're going back and forth.
That's not good news. I hope they don't have the radio on there in the limo.
He shouldn't be in the limo. If you're in the limo, get out.
He's in the limo. What are you saying?
Well, God, that's bad news, ain't it?
Yeah.
Lori Morgan's going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
As we insist on pursuing this week of
Goober Week.
Goober Week. Yeah.
With the exception of Doris.
Yeah, with the exception of Doris Kerns Goodwin. So Lori Morgan, she'll be here on Wednesday. And I don't think we have anybody else that we've really nailed down. But
we have prospects.
We could go ahead and just try to make it maybe the worst week ever.
Yeah.
We may not even have to make an effort to do that. It may just happen, you know.
Been accomplished.
Just say, Jesus,
in the
God
past
almighty,
hour.
what is this?
Loser week.
Jesus, God, they'll be taking that Marconi back now.
Oh.
You know, all of them. How good I have 4 Marconis now. They'll take all of them back. Well, they'll take them all back.
Call them in.
Yeah. So, no, we gave them to the wrong person.
I don't think so.
All right, 25 till the hour. Yeah?
Together again.
Buck on.
My tears have stopped falling. The long, lonely nights are now at an end. The key to my heart you hold in your hand. And nothing else matters. We're together again. Imus in the morning.
Shot these 4 black kids, or 3 or 4 black kids on the subway. Said to one of them, Daryl Cavey, you don't look so bad. Here's another. After he shot him. So apparently that's what Sammy Allred has in mind, because here's Sammy now.
I'm in.
Here's Sammy live from the limo.
Listen, my wife and Brent said the segment went great. What was the consensus there?
Well, I haven't abandoned you, Sammy.
Oh, God bless you, I'm in.
Wouldn't you? Have I, Charles?
No, you haven't, as a matter of fact.
I simply was soliciting opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
expressing some dismay and disbelief over some of the opinions expressed.
Oh, man.
That your appearance was being likened to that of our old friend Chinga Chavin.
Yeah, and the last thing I was warned of, don't mention Chinga's name. He is the worst guest ever been on.
No.
No.
Where are you now, Sammy?
On some bridge somewhere looking at great old big buildings and everything.
Hang a right.
Get out of the car. Jump. Sammy Allred here on the Imus in the Morning program. It is 18 minutes. Well, I don't think being mean to Sammy is a way to go here.
No, absolutely.
Not at all.
He's a sweet guy.
He's a very nice man.
He's a sweetheart.
We wish him well.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
A safe trip home.
Yep. Sure.
And don't ever come back.
And a quick trip home.
Lose the number.
No, well.
No, not at all.
No.
Absolutely not. No.
Come on.
Sammy.
It's a direct flight.
Yes. Well, no wonder Son doesn't ever say anything. He's speechless.
He's been rendered speechless years ago.
Yeah.
Billy, the funnier half.
It's 18 to the hour.
Andy Rooney this week is thinking about the virtue of absolution. Andy?
Absolution. The remember.
Never really done this kind of thing before. Have you? Third rate romance, low rent rendezvous. Imus in the morning.
Well,
45 minutes and maybe he'll have a yuck.
I'm getting choked up here. I think the thinking with Sammy was, well, I think that's it.
What was the thinking with Sammy?
The thinking was what you said.
Is there thinking with Sammy? Or in Sammy?
I think you can be. I think you can be too critical here. I think the thinking was, as you observed, that we'll hold Sammy over and hope that something happens.
Why don't we hold Sammy under?
Larry King. I like Larry, and you know I like Larry, but I really do like him. But I mean, he has so little idea of what the hell is going on that it's frightening. So he presents these Lyndon Johnson tapes last night that everybody has, as though they were a world exclusive, and he says the following. Now, I haven't heard these.
The Johnson tapes are showing up on oldies collections.
Rhino Records has the Johnson tapes out.
Exactly.
Along with a Buck Owens box set, you can get the Johnson tapes from Rhino Records.
Right.
If you act now.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
And I have enormous admiration and respect for Sergeant Shriver. Yeah. But let me just say this to Sergeant Shriver. It's over!
Get out!
Get out!
Beat it.
And Senator Chuck Robb, no bigger slime ball in America than this creep.
Please.
You know, you have to wash your TV screen after that bastard's been on it.
Imus in the morning.
98.1.
Everybody.
Oh.